So, redlining. More racist rhetoric coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So I got more racist rhetoric for y'all. Well, redlining is unique in that it's end result thinking as well as historical crime, which I'll go into later. But what is redlining? You hear black people cry about redlining all the time, but what exactly is redlining? Well, basically redlining is a credit rating, right? Well, just like we have individual credit scores, and this is something that's often seen in Western society, but not uniquely, not just Western society, but most places, I would say at least second world nations have credit ratings. Each people have individual credit ratings based upon a unique number to yourself. Here in America, of course, we have our social security number, but your credit rating is based on your personal behavior. You know, if you pay your bills, you'll have good credit. And if you don't pay your bills, you'll have bad credit. That's just simply how it is. Now, the credit rating system, as it goes here in America, is from 0 to 800. The higher the number, the better. And of course, there's also a color scale that goes along with your credit rating. You know, green being the best color. Then there's a light green, and it goes to yellow, then orange, then red. Now, red being the worst credit rating. And of course, red also being the red, meaning the red in redlining. Now, just like individuals are giving credit ratings, well, lenders also give ratings to areas based upon whether or not if it's safe or if it's risky to lend in those, to invest in those areas, to lend money to people to invest in those areas. Now, there are several different criteria that they use to determine whether or not the area is a good or bad risk, and that be stuff like, say, crime, or the average income in the area, or the academic output, and so on and so forth. Whatever criteria that they use to determine whether or not it's a good basically a good investment in that area, or if it's risky, if it's safe to invest in that area, or if it's a risk to invest in that area. And they come up with these ratings for a reason. Now, historically speaking, there was a time in which, or reportedly, that back in the day, 100 years ago, the 1920s, 1930s, and so on and so forth, there was a lot of racism, actual systemic racism against black people. And one of the things that reportedly was credit ratings in the area. There was white people who didn't want to see black people do better. They hated the black man, and so on and so forth. They didn't want to see the black people do better. So what they would do is they would falsely give black areas a red rating to give them an excuse to not want to invest in those areas. Now, I never did any research on how widespread it was. I'm pretty sure it happened, back in the day when it was actual racism, real racism that black people face, not the nonsense that black people cry about today. So I'm pretty sure that redlining as that practice in the past was happening, and it was used to stymie black people, used to stymie the black community. I have no doubt about that. But today, that's not the case. Okay, there are no lenders out here who would pass up on an opportunity to make money, because of course they make their money by lending money to people, and when people pay their money back, they collect interest. That's how they make their money. So there's no lending institution today that's going to miss out on the opportunity to make money and not lend to somebody just because they're black or just because the area is black. If they can make money, because the only color that people care about today is green. So if they can make money lending to black people, then they'll lend to black people. So if a community is labeled as red today, then it's legitimate. And if you look at the black community today, no one can say that in a lot of cases you don't have high crime rates, that you don't have high rates of government dependence, which often lead to low income levels. And when you have government dependence, you also have a dependent mindset. And you have people who generally act like children. You know, the ghetto mentality, well, the ghetto mentality is a childlike mentality. So if you have an area that's ghetto with a lot of people with blacks with ghetto mentalities and those childlike mentalities, are these people responsible enough to handle credit? And of course, oftentimes you see poor academic output. Of course, they blame that on the white man, as always, lack of funding, which is ridiculous. But that's for topic for another video. Anyway, there is no redlining today based off of skin color. Redlining is based off of behavior, and your behavior, whether it be you individually or an area, the people in an area, is going to determine whether or not it's safe or if it's risky to lend in the area, not skin color. So even though redlining is still practiced today, the problem is it is a legitimate thing. It has nothing to do with no systemic racism holding black people back. So there is no amount of redlining from the past that's stopping one single black person today. Okay, redlining is entirely based upon you and your behavior and the behavior of the people in your community when it comes down to investing in your community. So if people don't want to invest into the black community, it's generally because of things that black people are doing in those communities. You want people to invest into your community, you better give them an incentive to want to do so, because people don't just invest in something just to be investing, unless they're doing charity work. But when people are investing to make money, they invest to make money, not to be charitable. So, like I said, if you want people to invest in your community, then you have to give them an incentive to do so. And in many cases in the black community, black people aren't giving people an incentive, and then they want to cry when people don't want to do it. Now, if you really believe that the left cared about black people in the black community, you think that they would tell black people, hey, first and foremost, black people, go seek credit repair to help repair your individual credit. And it's not like it's difficult to find this. Credit repair, you can go on YouTube and find free videos on ways to improve your credit. Then those same leftists will also tell black people, start doing the things to make your area a safer place to invest in, as opposed to doing the things that make it risky, like committing high crime, high murder rates, you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth. Do the things that's going to make your community better. You know what I'm saying? Because this is definitely what conservatives are saying. Take some personal responsibility in your life and do the things that's going to make your credit better and the credit of your community better. And then people will invest into the community. There will be no crying about it when nobody wants to invest in the black community. Again, you want people to invest in your community, give them the incentive to do so, and they will. Anyway, y'all, if you ever hear any of these race hustlers, any black folks crying about redlining, well, now you know, and knowing it's half the battle, and it's always, 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 y'all. Until next time.